दृष्टुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युं नमाम्यहम्. We were discussing the chemical properties of aldehydes and ketones, in which aldehyde differs from ketone. We have discussed the oxidation reaction. Aldehydes undergo oxidation because of the presence of lone hydrogen atom or formyl hydrogen atom. Even mild oxidizing agents, they oxidize aldehydes to carboxylic acids containing same number of carbon atoms, whereas ketones do not undergo oxidation under normal conditions. We have seen the case of aldehyde. When treated with Tollens reagent, the ammoniacal silver nitrate solution, it gets oxidized to carboxylic acid and reduces the ammoniacal silver nitrate solution to metallic silver, which appears as a silver mirror inside the test tube. Hence, this test is called silver mirror test that we have discussed in our last class. Now, we will discuss the next oxidation reaction aldehydes give but not ketones is a reaction with the Fehling solution. So, here oxidation reaction. In the oxidation reaction of aldehydes, we have taken the first is Tollens reagent, second we are taking as the Fehling solution. Fehling solution. So this Fehling solution is a mixture of equal volume of Fehling A, which is blue color copper sulfate solution, and Fehling B, sodium hydroxide and sodium potassium tartarate. The sodium potassium tartarate is called as the Rochelli salt. Its solution is used here as a stabilizing agent. So this Fehling solution, we can say here, Fehling solution is a mixture of equal volume of Fehling A, that is copper sulfate solution, and Fehling B, which is sodium hydroxide plus sodium potassium tartarate. This sodium potassium tartarate, it is also called as Rochelli salt. Rochelli salt. So when these two are mixed, they form the Fehling solution. Here the sodium hydroxide actually takes part in the chemical reaction, whereas sodium potassium tartarate stabilizes the cupric ion. What happens now if you take Fehling A, copper sulfate, and we add to the Fehling B, sodium hydroxide, then this forms cupric hydroxide plus sodium sulfate. Cupric hydroxide plus sodium sulfate. So this cupric hydroxide so produced is a precipitate, but if you precipitate it will settle down, but the cupric ion of cupric hydroxide has oxidizing properties. So this cupric ion is oxidizing in nature. So they wanted to keep that cupric ion free from hydroxide. So the cupric ion forms a complex with the tartarate ion, and hydroxide ion remains outside. So the cupric ion is free there to take part in chemical combination, because in a complex compound, when you have the things, those which remain outside the complex ion, they do not react with the inside. Hence the cupric ion is the oxidizing agent here. So to stabilize that cupric hydroxide precipitate, the sodium potassium tartarate is used, and this Fehling solution is a mild oxidizing agent because of the cupric ion. So it presents a cupric ion and a hydroxide ion. They independently remain in the solution. They independently remain in the solution because of the presence of sodium potassium tartarate. Because of the presence of sodium potassium tartarate, this cupric ion and hydroxide ion, they independently remain. So when you take this Fehling solution now, when we take now the Fehling solution, we take the aldehyde RCOH, the aldehyde, and treat this with Fehling solution. So the Fehling solution gives the cupric ion, and the hydroxide ion remains as 3OH minus. So they react. So the cupric ion oxidizes the aldehyde to carboxylate ion. So this forms carboxylate ion RCO minus the carboxylate ion. Then it forms cuprous ion. The cupric ion is reduced to cuprous ion, and water molecule is produced. So this is a reaction taking place. Now this cuprous ion now react with this cuprous ion present here, react with OH minus hydroxide ion to form cuprous oxide plus water. So this cuprous oxide is a red precipitate. So that means when we take an aldehyde in a test tube, suppose we take an aldehyde in the test tube, we have taken the aldehyde here, and to this aldehyde we are now adding the Fehling solution. So when you add the Fehling solution, warm it after some time, so the aldehyde plus Fehling solution, then what will happen, the reaction? This is the test tube. In the test tube we will get here a red precipitate. We will get here a red precipitate in the test tube. At the bottom of the test tube we will get a red color precipitate is obtained here. Inside this we get a red color precipitate. This red color precipitate is because of cuprous oxide. So this Fehling solution supplies the cupric ion. The cupric ion oxidizes aldehyde to carboxylic acid and gets reduced to cuprous ion. The cuprous ion forms cuprous oxide. This cuprous oxide here comes as a precipitate. So this is a distinguishing test for aldehyde and ketone. Aldehydes undergo oxidation with Fehling solution, forming a red precipitate due to cuprous oxide, whereas the ketones cannot give this reaction. So students may get a question, what is Fehling solution? So if a question comes to you, what is Fehling solution? Our answer will be, a Fehling solution is a mixture of equal volume of Fehling A, aqueous copper sulfate solution, and Fehling B, sodium hydroxide and sodium potassium tartarate. The copper sulfate reacts with sodium hydroxide to form cupric hydroxide, and the sodium potassium tartrate prevents the precipitation of cupric hydroxide and stabilizes cupric ion, forming a complex with a tartarate ion. So this cupric ion acts as a oxidizing unit which oxidizes the aldehyde to carboxylic acid gets reduced to cuprous. So this reaction, if you want to write this reaction, you feel difficulty in this writing the reaction, you may write the reaction like this, because the active species is cupric ion. So a student can also write this reaction like this: aldehyde RCOH plus cupric oxide is the unit. So this cupric oxide, this reacts to form RCOH, carboxylic acid plus cuprous oxide. A student can write this reaction also this, because the active species of Fehling solution is cuprous oxide. If you can write, see, this way also you can represent the reaction, but if you can represent the reaction, this is more beautiful, because you are telling cupric ion, we are telling hydroxide ion, and this is the reaction take place. So now if you take the formaldehyde, we will write the reaction for formaldehyde and write the reaction for acetaldehyde. So if you take formaldehyde, HCO, the formaldehyde, and this forms the cupric oxide, the reaction, this is Fehling solution, and we warm it, then this forms formic acid, HCOOH, formic acid plus cuprous oxide A, red precipitate, and acetaldehyde CH3HCO reacts with the Fehling solution as this. We write Fehling solution and we warm the solution here. So this forms acetic acid CH3COOH, the acetic acid, plus the cuprous oxide, the red precipitate, this forms. So the Fehling solution get reduced to cuprous oxide and form this cupric. So this is one of the very important reaction for a student that gets in the exam. Now next reacts property of aldehyde and ketone, in which ketone, now if you take acetone, if you take the acetone here and we add Fehling solution, then no reaction. So this reaction is taken as a distinguishing test for aldehyde and ketone. A question may come, give two chemical tests by which you can distinguish aldehyde from ketone. One, we will write the Fehling solution. Second, we write the tolerance reagent, silver mirror test, which we have discussed in our last class. Now the next reaction in which aldehydes vividly differ from those of ketones is the polymerization reaction. We can make a statement here: the aldehydes undergo polymerization under suitable conditions, but not ketones. So what is this polymerization? The polymerization is poly means many, meros means units. Poly means many, meros means units, many units. So what is the definition of polymerization? Self-addition of the molecules to form a large gigantic molecule of aggregated molecular mass exhibiting different properties. So that is called polymerization. We have read in ethylene undergoes polymerization to form polyethylene. There you have done polyethylene. The ethylene forms polyethylene. We are using polyethylene very vividly. Here also aldehydes undergo polymerization, self-addition. One aldehyde molecule will be added to another aldehyde molecule without loss of anything under a given specific condition, then that is called polymerization. Aldehydes undergo polymerization but not ketones. Now first we will discuss the polymerization of formaldehyde. So the formaldehyde is a gas. So first, formaldehyde is a gas under normal conditions or under room temperature, it is a gas. When you take a aqueous solution of formaldehyde, that is called formalin, and allow to stand it, allow to expose to atmospheric air and keep it like that, then it forms a crystalline solid. It gets polymerized to form a crystalline, white crystalline solid called metaformaldehyde. Called as metaformaldehyde or trioxymethylene, a cyclic compound, trioxymethylene. Then 3 methylene groups and 3 oxygen atom, they form a ring structure, and that is called trioxymethylene or trioxane, and that is also called metaformaldehyde. So what is this happens if you take 3 molecules of formaldehyde, if we expose to long standing, that solution is long standing means we keep it like that in a container, and so then it forms a cyclic product. So it forms CH2O, then again CS2 and O. So here this is one molecule of formaldehyde, this is another molecule of formaldehyde, this is another molecule of formaldehyde. Trioxymethylene, this is methylene, 3 methylene groups are there, 3 oxygen atoms are there. So this is trioxymethylene or paraformaldehyde. There is one property, one polymerization reaction of formaldehyde. Then second, that when you take formaldehyde, SCHO, and add a drop of concerned sulfuric acid, then add a drop of concerned sulfuric acid, it forms a polyoxymethylene. It undergoes polymerization. Here also it is polymerization, I can write polymerization to produce CH2ON and 2 water. So this N can be 100 and more than that, 100, more than 100, 120, 100, 200, 300, 500, anything. N can be 100, more than 100. So this is a polymer that is called, this is a very important polymer that's found by the formaldehyde. When a drop of concerned sulfuric acid is used, then this undergoes polymerization to form this polymer. Then third thing it forms, when you take formaldehyde and add dilute sodium dihydroxide, add dilute sodium hydroxide, or sorry, add dilute barium hydroxide, Baretta means dilute barium hydroxide, or lime calcium hydroxide. We can take barium hydroxide solution or calcium hydroxide solution, an alkali, dilute alkali. When formaldehyde is treated with Baretta, that is barium hydroxide, or lime calcium hydroxide, then 6 molecules of formaldehyde undergo polymerization. 6 molecules of formaldehyde undergo polymerization to produce Formose, a product called a sugar called Formose, which has molecular formula C6H12O6. It is isomeric with glucose and fructose. Glucose has molecular formula C6H12O6. Fructose also has molecular formula C6H12O6, and Formose has also molecular formula C6H12O6. Formose, a sugar, it's a sugar. And what is the structure of this? So this Formose, what is this Formose? Now Formose is a pentahydroxy compound. There is a pentahydroxy formaldehyde. That means we take HCH OH, then CHOH, 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 then COH. So this is aldehyde, and these are 5 hydroxide compounds. So this forms how? Now 6 molecules of formaldehyde, HCHO, 6 molecules of formaldehyde, when treated with barytar or lime, undergo polymerization to produce Formose. You may get a question, what is Formose, or how is Formose formed? The question may come. Or what happens when formaldehyde treated with dilute barium hydroxide? So dilute barium hydroxide, this undergoes this Formose as a sugar. So another product also, this is a very important reaction. You may get this in your question, 1 mark question, or in your MCQ question, you may get this Formose. Formose is produced from formaldehyde, acetaldehyde, acetone, formic acid. Question may be there. So anyway, the question can come. Once a student is very good in his fundamentals, the only reason why I am going so detailed, the reason because I want to increase your fundamental concept. Once your fundamental concept is developed, you are very free to answer any question. Let him ask anywhere any question. You will be in a position to answer. But if you remember some reactions, as we generally do in the class and generally teachers do in the class, then what will happen? After some time you will forget. You will not be having the questions. Now then question comes, another it forms bakelite. This another important polymer that formaldehyde forms is called bakelite. How? Now when formaldehyde is treated with phenol, 40% formaldehyde solution treated with phenol in presence of ammonia. In presence of ammonia, we will take phenol and then we add 40% formaldehyde, which is that is called formalin. 40% aqueous solution of formaldehyde is called formal solution, and in presence of ammonia, then this undergoes a condensation, it undergoes polymerization. This undergoes polymerization to produce a bakelite. It produces bakelite. A thermosetting polymer. And this is used for the preparation of all electrical appliances, the switch, plug, the pins or handles of the electric ovens We have the ovens. In the oven we have a handle. That handle is prepared for this. All electric iron we have a handle. Wherever you want an insulator and which does not catch fire and is very useful bakelite. So these are the reactions the formaldehyde undergoes for polymerization. Now we'll come to polymerization of acetaldehyde. How polymerization of acetaldehyde? The acetaldehyde forms two types of polymers. Acetaldehyde. So when acetaldehyde is treated with, we take acetaldehyde, CH3CHO taken, treated with a drop of concentrated sulfuric acid. When acetaldehyde is treated with a drop of concentrated sulfuric acid, 3 molecules of acetaldehyde undergo polymerization. 3 molecules of acetaldehyde undergo polymerization to form paraldehyde. 3 molecules of acetaldehyde undergo polymerization to form paraldehyde, a 6-membered ring. It is a 6-membered ring. How? Very easy to write. You write CH first, you write CH, then you write OO, then again you write CH, again you write CH, then you write O. 3 molecules. Then this CH will have CH3 here and CH3 here and CH3 here. So this is 1 molecule of acetaldehyde, CH3CHO. This is 1 molecule of acetaldehyde. This is 1 molecule of acetaldehyde. This is another molecule of acetaldehyde. This is another molecule of acetaldehyde. This forms paraldehyde. So then comes, this is used as a hypnotic drug. This paraldehyde is used for the preparation of hypnotic drugs. Now come to the another product it forms. When acetaldehyde is treated with concentrated sulfuric acid, at 0 degree centigrade. 4 molecules of acetaldehyde polymerize. 4 molecules of acetaldehyde polymerize to form metaldehyde. That is CH3CHO4. This is CH3CHO4 metaldehyde. And then how to write this structure? It is also a ring structure, cyclic structure. We can include 4 molecules. Write exactly same way you write CHO, then CH, then CHO, then CH, then O, then CH, then O, then O. CHO 1 molecule, CHO another molecule, CHO another molecule, CHO another molecule. So here you will write CH3, here you will write CH3, here you will write CH3, and here you will write CH3. So this is 1 molecule of acetaldehyde, CH3CHO. This is another molecule of acetaldehyde. This is another molecule of acetaldehyde. This is another molecule of acetaldehyde. So 4 molecules of acetaldehyde undergo polymerization to form metaldehyde, which is used as a fuel for small lamps. We are having small lamps. In the small lamps, the fuels are used This metaldehyde, this may be a question in your entrance exam. Metaldehyde is used as a rocket fuel for blasting stones, used as a hypnotic drug, or as a fuel in small lamps. This may be a question to you, metaldehyde. Now children, you may get confused. Acetaldehyde form two type of polymers, paraldehyde and metaldehyde. Paraldehyde, how many molecules? Metaldehyde, how many molecules? If a question remains in your mind, just I want P, paraldehyde, P. So 1, you count 1, this is 1, then you start here 2, then end here 3. So 3 molecules, paraldehyde. Then if you want to metaldehyde, how many molecules? 4 molecules. So you count 1, then 1, then 1, then 1. M4 are there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So metaldehyde 4 molecules, paraldehyde 1 molecule, now 2, then and 3 P. So P has 3 molecules of acetaldehyde and has metaldehyde. Acetone does not undergo polymerization. But acetone undergoes a condensation reaction. Just one reaction you can remember here. Acetone does not undergo polymerization. Acetone does not undergo polymerization, but with concentrated sulfuric acid, it undergoes condensation reaction. Acetone does not undergo polymerization. Acetone does not polymerize. Acetone does not polymerize. But when acetone is treated with concentrated sulfuric acid, 3 molecules of acetone undergo condensation reaction. To form mesitylene, an aromatic compound, mesitylene. So 3 molecules of acetone, we will have 3 molecules of acetone, CH3, CO, CH3. When treated with concentrated sulfuric acid, it undergoes condensation. So this is the benzene ring, CH, then CH, then CH, then CH, then CH, then CH. This is benzene ring, double bond, double bond, double bond. And here is CH3. So you have the C, here you will have the CH3. Now here we will have the CH3 and here we will have the CH3. So this is called mesitylene. This product is called mesitylene. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 3, 5 trimethyl benzene. 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5 trimethyl benzene mesitylene. Because the same reaction, constant sulfuric acid. Now another product the acetone can form. It undergoes condensation reaction. It does not undergo polymerization but undergo condensation reaction. When second condensation reaction is that when acetone is treated with dry HCl, two molecules condense to form mesetyl oxide, and this again another molecule will react to produce boron. 3 molecules here. So again another molecule will react, CH3, CO, CH3 will react to form boron. What you take? Now first you take acetone, CH3, CO, acetone, this one molecule, and we write another molecule, CH3, CO, CH3. When we take this and treat this with dry HCl, so 2 and hydrogen and 1 oxygen they will go to form CH3, C double bond will have CH, then CO, CH3. This is called mesetyl oxide. This compound is called mesetyl oxide and a molecule of water. Now this acetyl oxide again will react. If we take CH3, CH3, C double bond CH, CO, CH3 is acetyl oxide, will again react with a molecule of acetone. With a molecule of acetone, this will react with a molecule of acetone. So this two hydrogen atom and oxygen atom, they go as a molecule of water. This oxygen atom and two hydrogen atom, they go as a molecule of water to form the product. This product you can write here because long one. So this is CH3. This forms like this: CH3, C double bond CH, then CO double bond CH, then will I have CH double bond C, CH3, CH3. So this is a foreign. It is a starting material for preparation of many medicines. In many medicines, this foreign is used as a starting material. So acetone does not undergo polymerization, but when treated with a dry HCl, two molecules of acetone, they form acetyl oxide. Then again another molecule forms a boron. So first this reacts to form acetyl oxide, then they form boron. So in this way, aldehydes undergo polymerization but not ketones, but ketone undergo condensation reaction. So thank you so much for being with us in the class. You can subscribe our channel and like the channel so that next class, when we will upload the next class, you will be having notification. So thank you so much for to be with us all these classes.